I didn't expect much when I dropped my 15-year-old daughter, Emily, off at my mother's house last month. I just needed a break. A breather. Emily had been distant, to say the least. Glued to her phone, barely talking to me, living in that strange TikTok Instagram world where validation comes in likes and hearts. But what I didn't know, what none of us knew, was that 7 days without a phone, in a small house with an 82-year-old woman who still writes checks at the grocery store, would completely and irreversibly change her. This is the story of what happened. And it all started with a cracked screen and a grandmother with a plan. The phone broke. That was the catalyst. Emily dropped it and it shattered. I took it as a sign, divine intervention, maybe. So when Grandma offered to keep Emily for a week during spring break, I said, sure, but no phone. Emily rolled her eyes. What am I supposed to do there? Took, I said, to your grandmother. She scoffed, but I saw something flicker in her expression. Maybe fear, or maybe she thought we were joking. We weren't. The first 24 hours were rocky. My mom called me that night. She barely speaks. I asked her what she wanted for dinner, and she said, IDK. That's teenager for, I don't know. I laughed. But Mom wasn't laughing. It's not just the slang, honey. It's like she's not here. Like she doesn't know how to be present. That word stuck with me. Present. We're raising a generation of children who are everywhere. Online, in the cloud, in DMs, but they're never fully here. And suddenly, I felt like I was to blame. By day 3, something strange happened. Emily started waking up early. Mom said she came downstairs at 7 a.m. without being told, sat at the kitchen table, and asked, "What was it like when you were 15?" Mom was stunned. She didn't know where to begin. So she told her about the time in 1960 when she snuck out to see a boy named James, how they danced under the stars to a radio that barely got signal. And then what happened? Emily asked, wide-eyed. I married your grandfather instead, Mom said with a grin. They laughed. Together. And that night, they made pancakes for dinner with extra whipped cream. By day 4, Emily found the photo albums. She asked about everyone. Who's that? She'd say, pointing to a black and white picture. What's that dress? Why are his pants so high? Mom told her about her wedding day. About the miscarriage no one talked about. About raising 2 kids while working double shifts. And how love looked different back then. Not in public Instagram proposals or destination weddings, but in coffee poured quietly every morning for 40 years. Emily cried. Not because the stories were sad, but because they were real. She told Mom, I didn't know people felt things that deep anymore. By day 5, Emily cooked dinner. From scratch. She found Mom's old recipe cards, handwritten in cursive Emily could barely read, and picked the messiest one, beef stew. She burned the onions. Twice. But they ate it anyway. Later that night, Emily asked to learn how to sew. Not because she wanted to sew, but because Grandma makes it look like art. And for the first time in years, Emily sat still, thread in hand, silent, focused, alive. I picked her up on day 7. She looked different. I don't mean physically. She looked grounded, like her soul had finally landed. She hugged me, tight, and whispered, I didn't know how much I missed just talking. In the car, she asked if we could go get a photo album. What for? Best surprised. She shrugged. I don't want to forget stuff. Like she remembers. I didn't cry. Not right then. But I felt it coming. The lump. The shift. The moment you realize something bigger than you just happened. That night, I called Mom. What did you do to her? I asked, half laughing, half shaking. I didn't do anything, Mom said. I just turned the world off for a while. And that's when it hit me. The world we live in now, it's loud, constant, demanding. We wear our attention like it's a prize. We scroll through tragedy, swipe past joy. We're so connected, we're losing connection. But in that small, quiet house, with no buzzing phone, no trending sounds, no perfect filters, my daughter remembered how to feel. She learned the value of silence, of eye contact, of stories passed down through hands, not hashtags. A week later, Emily asked if she could go back to Grandma's. Why? I asked. To hear more stories, she said. I want to write them down. And she did. Every visit since, she's been filling a notebook, calling it Things I Don't Want to Forget. Last week, she read me one entry. Said, I used to think being offline was boring, but I've never felt more full than I did sitting at the table with Grandma while she told me about losing her sister. No distractions, just her hands, her voice, and the silence in between. I didn't want to check my phone. I wanted to remember. So why am I telling you this? Because we forget. We forget that connection doesn't always need Wi-Fi. That some of the deepest, most powerful stories live in the hearts of the people sitting right beside us. People who've loved harder, lost more, and lived longer than any of us. We forget that sometimes, to move forward, we have to look back. And maybe, just maybe, the secret to helping our children grow isn't in giving them more, but in taking some things away. Even just for 7 days. If this story touched you, leave a comment below. Share your own memories with your parents or your children. Because stories like these, they aren't just stories. They're bridges. Between generations. Between hearts. Between what was and what still can be.